Hello, guys. Welcome back to Adulting but Not Really. Today's episode is centered around the lovely city of London. I am recording with my phone the audio if you're watching this on YouTube because my mic decided to be tricky with me today and it wasn't connecting properly to my computer. And I'm kind of on a time crunch right now. So it's a really busy Monday. So I just don't want to take the time to figure that out before I record. So I decided to just go with the awesome, honestly, really good iPhone audio recording quality. For an iPhone 12, it honestly does wonders for the audio. But yeah, so today's episode, it is centered around London, my relationship with London, my ups and downs with the city, and I guess kind of the whole journey of moving to a pretty big city by myself at the age of literally the week I turned 18. That's kind of crazy. That's the first time I ever moved out of my house, the first time I ever lived alone. I made the crazy decision of going with no roommate, and straight off the bat, the first time I ever lived by myself or out of my parents' house was in a tiny little, I really hope you didn't hear the truck. This street, I thought it was just, because my street was really busy, but after talking to most of my friends, it's just the UK that has really loud ambulance noises and really loud police sirens for no reason. I realized that in Miami, they're not that loud. Spain, they're not that loud, but something about the UK, they just really like making so much noise. But back to the whole point, as I was saying, I made the really interesting decision of living in a studio little student accommodation by myself. So I had no roommate, no one else to live with, no one else to talk to. I only knew one person in my uni, that it was my friend Agnes, that she's now not in the uni, but at the time she was in the uni, and I met her because I spontaneously took my first and only solo trip I've ever done. But I'm going to fix that. I'm going to go to Scotland by myself, but we'll get into that another time. But the only time that I went on a solo trip was to Barcelona back in 2022, because it was the summer I graduated. After I took a Eurorail trip with my friends, they all went back to Miami, and I decided to stay in the Canary Islands, and I had like a week more. So I decided to go to Barcelona by myself because I had some family friends there, but I've never even met these family friends at the time. Now I'm like super close to them, but I didn't even know what they looked like. I didn't know them or anything. I showed up in Barcelona. They picked me up from the airport. They were so sweet. And then I texted this random girl that I saw she was from Barcelona, that she was in my uni's little Excel sheet of new students. And now she's one of my best friends. She doesn't go to my uni anymore, but she still studies in England. So I see her all the time. But yeah, crazy how that happens. What was the whole point of telling that? I think I went in... Oh, yes. So basically, I moved to London in a small studio dorm by myself, and the only person that I knew was her. But I'd only met her twice, because I met up with her twice. Not twice in Barcelona, but for like 2 days in Barcelona. And that was as far as I knew her, and that was as far as I knew everyone. So that was pretty nerve-wracking. I will say it felt a little bit more at ease, because it's not like I traveled to London by myself for the first time. My lovely father came with me, and we stayed in a hotel right next to the uni, which I think was good, but it wasn't bad, but I think it did kind of hurt me socially for the first week, because even though I wouldn't have traded it for the world, because thank God he was there for the first week, there was so much that needed to be done and so many things that I needed help with. I'd never moved into any place by myself, and I moved to Miami when I was really little, so I don't even remember the whole moving process. So, and I think my parents took care of it, and I was with my grandparents while they were taking care of that. So I really did not, I've never done like a whole moving process. So it was really nice that he was there, because we got everything together in a week, and he helped me with so much. But it hurt me a little bit socially, because there's so many things that I would go to orientation. They're like, oh, we're going to get lunch after. And it's like, no, my poor dad has been walking around London all day by himself, and I feel really bad. And I really want to spend time with him, not only because he's probably bored, but because, I'm not going to see him till Christmas after this. So it did hurt me a little bit socially, because I feel like I could have gotten closer with people faster. But long term, I became friends with those people either way. So it's fine. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it was a little bit of an adjustment, because again, I hadn't even done study abroad during high school. I hadn't even done exchange year, which most of the students here had done either high school abroad, or they did like a semester in high school, or minimum a month in the summer and exchange in like Germany or Ireland, and I had never lived by myself without my parents ever. That was nerve-wracking, but I didn't really process. I do things where I don't notice until it's too late. Like the other day I was thinking about the logistics of me actually moving to Madrid in September, and I know it's gonna happen because I'm a very determined person. When I set my mind to something, I get it done, and everything's been working out for it to get done. Like I have been taking the steps for that to be the final goal, but it's still pretty, the actual getting on a flight without a return ticket does not sit well with me. Even though it's not far away, it is, like, I'm not from Madrid. My family's not from Madrid. I have one friend that's gonna go study there next year, but that's about it. And it's not like I'm going there for uni, I'm going there for work. So it's very, very different. But that is a challenge that we'll undertake in September. Like, I don't have to worry about that right now. And I'm not going to worry about that right now, because what's the point of worrying about that right now? Back to the whole point. So I moved to London August 2022. It was the week of my birthday. So I'm guessing like the 20th of August. I remember it's like a couple days after my birthday. So like the 20th of August, something like that, I moved to London. I had never lived in a big city. You can argue all you want, but Miami's not a city. And any person that has grown up in Miami can tell you that. Actually, any person that has been in Miami can tell you that. Do you need a car to be in Miami? Yeah. Where's Miami Beach? It's an island. Where's Coconut Grove? 15-minute drive. Do you want to take the public transportation? Go ahead, take the Metro Mover. It'll take you an hour for a 20-minute drive. I'm really hitting on it, but I'm dead serious. Miami needs to like invest more money in public transportation. I like Miami for how diverse and, you know, it's all spaced out, so it doesn't feel too claustrophobic, and it's really nice because you have different neighborhoods with its own little personality. But it's so sucky at public transportation, and it's made for cars. Miami's made for cars. So I went from not even living in a city, because I was also living in Key Biscayne, which is like an island off the shore of downtown Miami that has everything you need, like a golf course, 2 high schools, 1 middle school, like 3 elementary schools, a beach. I used to go in golf carts around the island. I used to work walking dogs all around the island, so I wouldn't even leave the island at all Monday to Friday, because my high school was there, my job was there, my friends were there, extracurricular activities like soccer, volleyball, tennis, like they were all there. Even swimming, there was a swimming pool, like community center with a swimming pool for you to do swimming classes in. You had supermarkets, pharmacy, like 20 different restaurants. I used to go rollerblading on the island too as a afternoon activity with my friends. Like, I really didn't need to leave the island, and it felt like a tiny little community, and it wasn't a city. Also, I was in shorts and a tank top 365 days of the year, maybe 350, because maybe 15 of those you actually need a sweater outside, but the rest, it's shorts and a t-shirt. You really don't need anything else. I had swimming class, I was kayaking, paddleboarding in school. This was a public high school, by the way. Yeah, I really didn't need, it was perfect. So I went from having, and every single weekend, my plans would be go to the beach. Are you bored from going to the park, to CVS, to Starbucks, to a friend's house, and you want to do something different? We all just went to the beach. Let's get dinner. Let's take it to the beach. What do you want to do today? Oh, let's play volleyball by the beach. Oh, are you bored? Let's take a walk by the beach. Oh, we don't know what to do today. Oh, let's go to the beach, listen to music, and play cards. Everything revolved around the beach, which is amazing, because that means that we weren't really using technology. We were always out and about. We were super active kids. By we, I mean just people in my neighborhood, me and my friends. We were always, I remember if we got to that extreme level of boredness, I would bring my speaker, I would get on Diego's golf cart, and he would just drive us around the neighborhood in loops, listening to different music and just talking about life. And the golf cart was, if you search up golf cart, you kind of know what it looks like. It's just tiny little car. It's not even classified as a car, but it has no doors or anything, so the wind blows in your face, and it's so nice. So I would just, and it's an electric golf cart too. They're mostly all electric. It's really rare to see a gas golf cart, at least in the neighborhood that I was in. So It was all so nice. Point of this entire rant about Miami living is I went from that, like tropical, beachy, super relaxed. I mean, my high school was really intense, but like super relaxed lifestyle on the weekends, always revolved around nature, always going running, rollerblading, volleyball, tennis, going to the beach every day, going snorkeling every day, going kayaking with my friends when I was bored, to then bricks. I've always lived in the same neighborhood in London for the past 3 years, and I love this neighborhood so much because it's kind of very in the center of the city, but it's not in the chaos, but it's still relatively really good price to be in zone 1. And I'm walking distance from really major things, so it's perfect for me. And it's also walking distance from my uni. But I will say, it's like a 20-minute tube ride from parks. Like, the closest one, I believe, is Regent's, and it's 20 minutes in the Hammersmith line. And that's where I used to go running last year because I had class at 6 p.m. So I had, like, the whole day just stretched out. This year, I have so many other responsibilities apart from uni and other things that I want to get done, and I have to prioritize. So I don't have as much time, even though I still have afternoon classes. But apart from that, like, it's still, like, a 40-minute full ride to go to the park for, like, if I want to go on a stroll for 20 minutes. And the parks are amazing, okay? London does have really big, huge, diverse parks, and you get to see nature all the time, and it's really nice. And, you know, I could just go hang out with my friends at the park all the time, but guess what? It's cold most of the year. And I'm not used to the cold. I'm not used to being landlocked. I'm not used to the cold. I'm not used to all of that. So London for me was a culture shock. I remember specifically when I had to go and buy my first long sleeve shirt freshman year of uni. I remember specifically when I went to Uniqlo, I got one long sleeve shirt and I was like, well, I guess I need 2. And then I had to buy 2. And I remember specifically my first semester struggling so much to know how to dress for the cold. Because I didn't know what was appropriate. I didn't know when people would start wearing, you know, high neck. I didn't know how to layer. I didn't even know that you could layer that much. I didn't even have the proper shoes for it. I didn't know how to dress for the cold at all. I'm from the Canary Islands and I lived in Miami my entire life. I don't do cold. I'm not built for the cold. I don't know how the cold works. I don't know how long the winter lasts. I don't know any of that. The max I've done the cold is like 2 weeks at a time if I go skiing like in Colorado every like 3 years. And that's about it. I don't really see snow. I don't really go near this cold weather or snow or anything like it. So for me, that was completely different, and that was such a shock because I didn't really, again, I do things without thinking about it. So I moved to London without really thinking the logistics of it. So the minute that my dad left the first week, I remember being in complete and utter shock and just realizing I'm alone in a different country, a 9-hour flight from my parents, very expensive 9-hour flight if something happens to me and I need to go to them right away. And then a 4-hour flight to the Canary Islands to my grandparents and my uncles. Like, it's, 4 hours is not bad at all compared to Miami. And I spent 10 years of my life going back and forth between Spain and Miami. So I'm used to the 9-hour flights. And for me, a 4-hour flight is so doable, so easy, passes by so quick. But it still takes time. Like, if I go for a weekend, I do have to miss Friday or Monday. So for it to be worth it. So it's still it's just, you're kind of isolated in the middle of nowhere. And unless you have people that make you feel comfortable and at home and that they're there for you if anything happens in the area that you're living in, it's just not the most fun at first. So I was kind of relying on my long distance friends and other external factors at the time for, validation, not validation, but kind of reassurance that everything was going to be going well. And, I think a very common journey that everybody takes, even with my friends that stayed home in Miami for uni, is that freshman year, the first semester of your freshman year of uni or college, you become friends with the first persons you think you click with. And then second semester is kind of like you figure out who is sticking, and then you finally find the right group of people that match you and your personality and your way of life and your routine and, the persons that will actually be there for you. Because first semester, everyone's just kind to survive. everybody's just trying to survive. Everyone's just trying to, figure out. I've known so many friends here that, especially, I know in UF, and the same thing happened to my friend that studies in Bath. First semester, you already have to know who you're going to live with. Second year of uni. Because in small uni and college towns, you need to get houses really fast for the next year because everything just packs up. So they ended up living with people that they were best friends with first semester, but they didn't even talk to second semester, but they're stuck living with these people next year because they had to make decisions so drastically fast. I know people that did not end up in their experience second year who they were living with, and I know people that they did like it at the end. So they weren't besties, but at least it was a good living situation and it got the job done. So, there's not, it can always get better. I lived alone again. I think I'm going off track, but I'm trying to, I'm trying to set the scene because the scene is so important. It was just such a dramatic change. So London for me was I didn't really like it at all because I didn't know what to do in a city. I remember specifically writing in my journal, what are you supposed to do in a city? What other activities are there apart from going to dinner, going clubbing, and maybe getting a coffee with a friend? They all revolve money. Miami, I never spent money. I worked my butt off with the dogs and with that company, and I made so much money, and the only money that I would spend was if I went with my friends or my ex-boyfriend to go out for dinner or maybe to the movies, and gas. And I did spend most of my money in Miami on gas for my car, but apart from that was my only expenses, and I did that once a week. Once a week I would go out for dinner, and that's it. I didn't go clubbing until I got to London at all. I think once for graduation I went clubbing in Miami, but that was about it. I never spent money on anything else. I went from never spending money or a minimum amount of money and making so much money to going to college, not really having a job that first. Well, I got a job second semester of freshman year of uni. It was a remote job. But apart from that, I wasn't making money. It was my first time relying on my parents for money, which felt so wrong because I specifically got a job in high school, jobs in high school, so I didn't have to ask my parents for money because I hate asking them for money. But it was my first time feeling guilty about that and having to learn that is the stage that I'm in life, and there's, eventually I got a job, but it felt a little bit weird. And then being in a city where one, very expensive, and two, everything revolved money. And I didn't know what to do because it's not like there was a beach that I could go to and hang out with my friends. The weather was not so great all the time to go to the park. It's raining all the time. And if it's not raining, it's cold. So my friends would be like, why would I go to the park? I'm going to be freezing. Let's go get a coffee, or let's go to a restaurant, or let's go to an indoor place so you have to pay to get in. And then at night, obviously it's freshman year of uni. All everyone wanted to do is go out. And I like going out to a certain extent. I feel very dreaded after a while, and I can't do it more than 2 nights. That's where I top. Even one night, I'm like, you really have to convince me for the second night. You that's gonna be a tough one for you. But yeah, so that was very complicated at the time. Really fucked up with my mental health. Eventually, went home almost all the time to Miami. I got a job because I wanted to go back to Miami all the time. Freshman year ended and my relationship with Linda was so bad. I remember my school has a campus in Boston. So I was really trying to go to Boston. I was trying so hard to switch to the Boston campus, and I missed the deadline. And I remember specifically, because I think this advice, it's so silly, but I thank her for pushing me to stay in London. My therapist specifically told me, there's a reason why you missed the deadline. Subconsciously, there's a reason. Because I am the most planned person ever. I am a person that's always planning, always ahead, writes down. I'm on my Notion. My Notion and me are interconnected. We're one. I am always on top of all my deadlines. I'm a very organized person. So she was like, there's a subconscious reason why you missed the deadline, and something's calling you to go back. You have unfinished business there. You have to go back. There's a reason why. She didn't say universe because she's not really spiritual, but she was like, there's a reason why you subconsciously put yourself in that position to not have an option, and that you have to go back because you subconsciously know that you have unfinished business in that place. And she was so right, because I got lucky too. First day I arrived to London, second year of uni, it was sunny, it was beautiful. Everything happens for a reason. I didn't have the keys to my apartment until the day after I got to London. So the first day I asked one of my friends from it, like at the time we weren't too close, but she was one of my closest friends in London. You can tell that my social spectrum in London wasn't as deep as my friends in Miami. So for me, it was like, yeah, she's a friend, but it doesn't feel like home. At least at that time. Now, she does feel like home. Everything happens for a reason again. So basically, I asked her, I was like, can I sleep over one night? And then the next day, I'll go to my apartment. She's like, of course. I arrived in the morning, got to her house. She's like, we're going to go walk around. It's a sunny day. I'll show you around. We'll get decorations for your house and my house. All this, all that. I had the best first day back. Best. I was smiling from ear to ear. I remember I started falling in love with London. My friend really liked London, so I guess that energy really just transmitted to me because I remember specifically walking around. Well, first it was still hot in London, so my perception of London was always it's cold, rainy, ugly, landlocked, ew. And then after this day, it was like, no, it's pretty. I just had a drink outside on a terrace. I'm going to this place to buy really cute flowers for my house. I'm gonna go buy sheets for my bed. I am walking here. I just got an iced coffee. We're walking around. This is also pretty. Look at the flowers. Wow, I love it here. And I wasn't even trying so hard to like it. It just kind of unconsciously flew by. And I think because it was such a drastic change freshman year because I decided to, well, also I will say second year I decided to live with someone. So I had a roommate, so I knew that I had someone in the house with me that, was living with me, so it didn't feel lonely. So if I could go back in time, I would have gotten a roommate freshman year of uni, but honestly, no, I wouldn't go back in time because it built me so much resilience. Not only did it force me to spend so much time by myself, it forced me to reflect a lot about myself. It forced me to get to know myself on such a deep level. And honestly, after that year and going through it and feeling really lonely by the end of it, realizing what things I needed to work on, what were not my problems, but kind of my insecurities at the time, I got to really, really know myself, and I got so much respect for myself after that year. That summer, I started reflecting about what went wrong, what went right, and I also started therapy and all of that, and I realized how much respect I have for myself and all of that. So honestly, it built me a lot of self-love, it built me a lot of resilience by the end, but it was tough. If you ask my parents and my friends, it was so tough. I was not doing well freshman year, but it built me so much as a person. I think one of the reasons why I'm so emotionally strong and so mentally strong to this day, by the end of high school, by the end of college, I'm so out of high school, by the end of uni, it's because of freshman year. It built me up so much. Moving on, however, second year of uni, fell in love with London. Something just clicked, but it still wasn't fully clicked because, as seen in my earlier episodes, I was constantly out. Every other weekend or every weekend, I was traveling. I went to Canarias in November. I went to Italy. I went to Belgium. I went to Ireland. I went to Madrid. Then I think I went to Barcelona. Then I went to Bath. I went to Oxford. I was always out of London, and I would look at the calendar and be like, oh, this is so nice, one weekend in London. But then I would love my weekdays. My weekdays would be amazing. I wouldn't even have to think twice, because freshman year of uni, I would always have to overthink, do I have anything tomorrow, so I can do something with my life so I don't drown here? Do I have someone to hang out with? Second year, I never once had to worry about that because it just came in so naturally. I remember specifically cramming in seeing friends during the week so that during the weekend I wouldn't feel guilty that I left them in London, or that I left London and that I couldn't really bond with them during the weekend. So I would cram so many dinners. I would cram so many coffee dates with my friends. I would cram in so many visiting and seeing friends around London that it felt very overwhelming, and it was the stamina that I could keep up at the time because I had a reason why I wanted to be constantly distracted at the time. But by the end of the year, I was exhausted. I remember this is one episode that at the end of last year that I was like, I'm so glad that I'm in London for 3 weeks. And it was true. I spent my last month of second year of uni just in London without moving, and it was the best month of my life. This year I decided to take a different approach because it is my last year in London, And last year I gained such love and appreciation for it because I saw it for what it is. I'm not constantly comparing myself to Miami. Freshman year I was constantly comparing myself to people that were back home because they would constantly be posting pictures at a boat party. They would constantly be posting pictures at the beach. Them in like tank tops in school. And I would be in like 3 layers. I wouldn't know how to layer up. My skin was doing horrible. So because lack of vitamin D and also lack of proper water, because the water in London is just not too great. And also I didn't know how to cook for myself at the time, or I didn't know how to make balanced meals. So I was not eating the best. I wasn't eating bad because I was cooking at home, but it was very basic, bland meals. And I wasn't drinking enough water, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So it was all very much all over the place. So everything kind of changed the second year of uni because it was just... I was opening up my mindset of let's embrace city life. Let's embrace London, you know? I think my personality kind of also shifted towards being a city person. So third year of uni, my game plan was... Well, first of all, I was drained from traveling because the last month and a half of summer before starting this year, I was in between Canarias, Barcelona, Madrid, Italy, Valencia, Toledo, Costa Brava. Like, I was just everywhere. And I was drained. And I remember I had to pack and unpack every 3 days, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So the minute I got to London, I told myself, I'm not touching a plane till the quarter ends, minimum till the quarter ends. So every 6 weeks, which is the length of a quarter, which is half a semester, I have a week off. And that week off, I normally go traveling. This week off that I have, I am going to Copenhagen and Madrid. So that would be really fun. So it's only 4 days in Copenhagen and then in Madrid, but Madrid just feels like a home now. So it's more of a relaxation. I'm just there to see friends and stuff. But that's my only trip that I've done. I did go to Oxford for a day, like 3 weeks ago, but because of my friend's birthday, Agnes. But apart from that, I've been in London the entire time. And I haven't I haven't craved being in a plane. Right now, going traveling, not gonna lie, sounds a little bit hectic, but I'm a little bit excited for it because it has been a month and a half since I've touched a plane, which is actually the longest I've gone without touching a plane in I think 2 years, so quite a while. But I'm excited. I think it's the break that I needed, and my plan for the second quarter does revolve a little bit more planes, but it's once a month, and I think that's doable. I think that's so much more doable than every weekend. But yeah, so my plan for this year that I have left in London is to prioritize London because it is the last year that I'm here, and then after that I go back to Madrid. Now, with this whole journey of London and my relationship with it and how it started off really bad and I completely hated it and I didn't see any positives of it, to then starting to really like it, appreciate it for what it is, and then having that appreciation and love for London, I would see myself here coming back, but I don't see myself here past the age of 28. I just don't. No. I told myself that after a certain age, I am not landlocked anymore. I can appreciate London for what it is. I can appreciate Madrid for what it is, and I love Madrid, but I cannot be landlocked for the rest of my life. I think even though don't get me wrong, I'm so happy in London, and I think Madrid is even going to make me more happy. I truly cannot describe the amount of euphoria that I get by being close to the beach. There's something... I'm from the Canary Islands. I lived in a beach town my entire life till I was 10, and I also lived in a beach town in Miami, away from the city. It was in an island. It's so bad that it's so reliant on the ocean, because let me change the argument, because I was about to say my happiness relies on the ocean, but it really doesn't, because I am really happy in London and thriving, and I'm not really close to an ocean. Like, I am close to Brighton by an hour in train, and I go like once every 6 months, so it's not like I go every day, and I don't see the ocean every day. But I will say there's like a certain level amount of happiness that I get from living next to the beach, and I know that that's where I have to be. I'm gonna finish the episode here because it is a little bit long, But thank you for listening to today's episode. A little bit all over the place, but I think it was a good rant. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully it was cohesive. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week.